I used to have it all. Then I fucked up and saved the world.
So this is a sequel to a reboot.
Correct.
Shadow Warrior 2.
Shadow Warrior 2.
What is there to be excited about with this game?
You know, Kyle, we had a pretty stacked E3 this year. A lot of appointments, a lot of exciting things, right? You had Phantom Pain, you had Street Fighter V, then you got Final Fantasy VII Remake announced, you got Shenmue 3.
People are having
announced.
appointments for Last Guardian.
Yeah, Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
So when I went into my Shadow Warrior 2 appointment, despite liking the original reboot, it was not, top of my list. Mm-hmm. And I walked away, I wanted to talk to somebody about it immediately.
Cool.
They're doing so many different things in the sequel, and they're improving upon it in almost every way. And one of the first things is I couldn't get over how good it looked. They're using the same engine from the first game, but they've retooled it, and it looks fantastic. I mean, you're in this lush East Asian inspired like castle almost, but then you have these really gnarly demons, and when you cut them up, just the way blood flies everywhere, it's glorious. It's disgusting and perfect in a really weird way. And one of the first additions that I want to mention is in the first Shadow Warrior reboot. When you cut up enemies, they sort of fell apart in predetermined ways.
Yeah.
But here it's procedural cutting, right? So
like Revengeance.
Right, like Revengeance. So where you cut them matters, and they will fall apart in that way. And even like a little touch like that makes a big difference. But that is far from the only thing.
But the sword is still huge in this game.
Yes. 4-player co-op is being added.
Whoa.
And what's interesting about that is the main character in Shadow Warrior is known as Lo Wang. When you see your friends, they all look like sort of this lowly ninja grunt. But to them, they look like Lo Wang.
Yes.
So everybody sees themselves as Lo Wang.
Of their own universe.
Yeah, but you see everyone else as sort of these lowly soldiers.
Is there a benefit in game to chopping off an arm, or you know how you call it procedural cutting? Is there a benefit to it, or is it just for show?
Not that I saw. I think it is just for show.
Cool.
But the craziest thing that I saw in Shadow Warrior 2, and what really got me excited, is they have these areas in the game. So you think about Diablo, right? Where you go into Diablo and it's procedurally generated, where you have the same tile set, but it's rearranged slightly differently. The enemies you're fighting might be different in this section. The quantity of them might be different. Take that idea, but imagine that you had a tile-based system and you had 200 tiles. Okay. Are you still with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine every single one of those tiles was designed by a designer. They weren't procedurally generated. You were like, okay, in this tile I want 5 demons and I want them to behave this way in this environment. Okay? Now take all of those like very elaborately designed tiles and put them in the world at random locations. That's what they're doing in Shadow Warrior 2. And what's cool about it is it changes every time you return to an area. So let's say you're fighting in the world and you're on a bridge, right? And you kind of leave and then you come back. When you come back, the bridge might be broken. And one of those design tiles is randomly assigned to that slot in the world.
So what specifically do? I go to the bridge and then fight people and then to make the bridge come back?
You don't make it come back. It just changes every time you revisit it.
Sure.
And what's cool about that is you sort of have the benefit of procedurally generated stuff. You get the randomization, so you can replay the same level. Like if you really want to get loot and level up your character, essentially, you can keep replaying the same sections over and over and over again. But it doesn't feel procedurally generated. It's more intricate than that. The areas are designed in a more elaborate way than they normally would be.
But you used a specific number. You said 200?
So that's just the example they gave to me. Okay. I don't have a specific number for how many of those things they designed. But then on top of that, every single time you encounter one of these tiles, they mix it up a little bit, right? So they might have you fight more demons. Even though it's like the same design thing, they might mess around with some sliders. And that stuff is randomly assigned.
Cool.
And so it's just a really interesting approach to make you want to come back and do this with friends, right? So one of my least favorite things about Diablo 3 is when I want to start a new character, I have to go through the story again. I've seen the story
Yeah.
time and time and time and time again, and so I don't want to replay it. But with Shadow Warrior 2, it's like, okay, we're going to see the same beats, we're going to go in the same areas, but if what they're saying is true, we're going to not only encounter procedurally generated stuff, but it's going to be super well designed, so it's guaranteed to be fun. They actually contextualize the procedurally generated stuff with this as well.
Like there's a reason these things change.
There's a reason.
Okay.
And so the merging of these worlds is making the fabric of time and space unstable. And so at points in the story where you go to locations that are more unstable because of the fusing of worlds, you will encounter more randomly procedurally generated stuff.
Cool.
And I like that little contextualization.
Me too, absolutely.
And it also kind of eases you into it, so it's not just crazy right away, but as you progress, it gets more random. Yeah. So that was Shadow Warrior 2. It's nice when, you have a sequel that isn't just, I don't know. It would be boring to me if they're just like, we added more weapons, or we added more loot, or we just added co-op. But it's like, no, this is a fundamental change in how we're approaching level design. I think that's what gets me excited.
Ben.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this game with us.
Yeah.
One that could have easily slid under the E3 radar.
Yeah. I can't wait to see more of it, and I hope we're able to talk about it again.
Cool.
I'm bringing some friends along.
Rise up and fight!
Who wants some wang?